Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hornets Daily presented by Fan Arc, your one stop shop for all things Charlotte Hornets. I'm Vance Ballard, but friends like you call me VB, and I'll be keeping you up to date with all the buzz happening around Charlotte. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment on the video. As we progress through future videos, we'll get into some comments with throughout the chat. We'll talk about what you guys may have on your mind as well. But we've got a lot to get into here, a lot to unpack after the second round of the draft has culminated, and we will get right into it. No need to beat around the bush. We'll jump right in. As I mentioned, the 2025 draft has officially come to an end, and it was another big and exciting night for Hornets fans as Jeff Peterson was able to work his magic once again. Now, he laid the groundwork for it in round one, but he made it very clear in round two with the final two picks that he has a type and he's going to stick to that type. Well, at first glance, you might think that type is Duke Blue Devil, and that's not exactly what I'm talking about, although you could probably make that argument for the entire Charlotte organization as a whole. In taking Sion James with the 33rd pick, the Charlotte franchise has now drafted 6 Duke players since 2009 and 4 since the year 2020. Obviously, Mark Williams, all things if they go as planned, will not be on that roster. He was one of the 2022 draft picks from Duke, but still a common theme throughout the draft is bringing Blue Devils into the Hornets organization as of late. But again, Blue Devil is not the type that Jeff Peterson was showing us he likes throughout these 2 rounds and 4 draft picks the Hornets made on Wednesday and Thursday. In his press conference following the first round, Peterson said Charlotte always wants competitors. He added that the Hornets value positional size and shooting and IQ. And well, Sion James has all of those qualities in abundance. From Tulane to Duke to Charlotte, James brings a 6'6", 220-pound frame, and at 22 years old, compared to a lot of the guys in the draft and the 2 players picked before him, he offers some wisdom to the younger guys, again, that were drafted ahead of him, and maybe even the younger guys in the locker room, as he'll be one of the older ones, as crazy as that is to say, coming in at 22 years old and a college senior. James averaged 8.6 points a game and 4.2 rebounds and 2.9, almost 3 assists coming off the bench for a Duke team that in the 2 rounds of this draft saw 4 of its main starting 5 drafted, as well as Sion James. His role coming off the bench for Duke is going to play into the Hornets' advantage in a big way, I think, since that's going to result in little to no adjustment period to that role when he comes into Charlotte. He'll be coming off the bench early for the Hornets as well, so it won't take a mindset change or a slice of humble pie to get him to come off the bench. James is used to that, and it was obvious that just by going to Duke, electing to go to Duke with the roster they had, he knew he was going to be not necessarily the superstar, more of a role player coming off the bench type of role anyway. And so that fits well with what the plan is for him in Charlotte and what he'll be able to do right away. Now, we mentioned the Hornets focusing on high IQ, smart playmakers, and they get just that with James as well. He's coming in already an elite level passer who doesn't turn the ball over very often and makes smart decisions off the pick and roll. He's a good passer at getting guys open into their spots, finding them, cutting through the lanes. James has got, again, a high basketball IQ. He plays with a lot of maturity and experience. You can see that throughout his game as we watch some tape, some old film of him at Duke, watched him play there this season, and some of his pre-draft workout stuff as well. You can hear the people around the league raving about the playmaking ability and athleticism which James brings to the game. As I mentioned, he showed us by choosing to go to Duke this year that he doesn't mind not only being a role player, but he doesn't mind playing without the ball in his hands when he is on the floor. And he put that on display many times this year at Duke, as well as his creativity moving without the ball, cutting, finding lanes. He almost has a third eye in up there for his ability to find an open lane or a spot to cut where the ball handler can find him as he's getting to the basket or creating himself a mid-range jump shot. And speaking of jump shots, when he does have the ball in his hand, he's not often seen as a volume shooter per se, kind of like Knipple or McNeely coming in. Doesn't shoot as frequently as they do, but he certainly makes what he takes. James was able to improve every phase of his offensive game while at Duke, and really each year he was in college, as he came off a strong junior season at Tulane as well. But at Duke, he managed to shoot 51.6% from the field, 41.3% from three, and he also shot 81% from the line. So he's more than comfortable at the charity stripe as well. And again, does not waste the opportunities that he gets when he does take his jump shots, whether it be finding himself his own shot or catch and shoot or working off a screen, whatever it may be. When he has the opportunity to take the shot, he tends to take advantage of it and make that. Again, he's got more than enough upside offensively. We've raved about his athleticism, his big size, his length, and his ability to shoot the basketball. But I don't think that's the main part of what got him drafted here at number 33. James is by far and away the most versatile and, dare I even say, elite defender that the Hornets drafted in either round of this draft. He's got, like we said, he's got a 6'6" wingspan. He's a freak athlete. That's been documented on film. That's been raved about. That's been all that's talked about throughout his draft process is his athletic ability. And he's built basically like he could make the Panthers tomorrow. There may be some confusion as to which Charlotte team he plays for when he's walking around in town early in his career. All of those things give him an innate ability to guard pretty much any position on the floor. He can really guard down to the 1 or the 2. He can guard up at the 4 and the 5, and he's got no problems guarding his own position at the wing there with, again, a 6'6" wingspan. He's long enough, and he's pesky enough, quick enough laterally to stay in the face of a modern NBA wing who's handling the ball or trying to get to their spot. James, no problem defensively there, going to come in and fit right away, almost NBA ready already on defense. That'll help him fit in nicely in Charlotte. He'll get some early minutes in his career. And very early, even too early, reports have whispered about the possibility of James quickly becoming a primary guard defender in the NBA. I'm not sure if that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here or not, but we know that Charles Lee is a defensive-minded head coach. He loves guys like Sion James when they come in ready to play defense in the NBA, almost defensive-first mindset. And so he should fit seamlessly into Lee's system and be a massive bright spot for the Hornets going forward. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch his development throughout the offseason and see where he fits into the roster as we get going into the regular season. As we know, though, Peterson and Lee weren't done just quite yet at 33. They still had to make the 34th pick following up Sion James. And if you're anything like me, you were sitting around screaming at your TV for it to be a big man. I know that's something we've hit on in the first 2 episodes pretty hard. The need to fix the big man issue in Charlotte. Get someone in the paint that can maybe protect the rim, be a versatile two-way player, and kind of be a future anchor here for the Hornets on the inside. When the 34th pick popped up, there were multiple satisfactory options still left on the board, but once again we go back to the type. Charlotte went for a hyper-competitive, hard-working guy who, again, may not be called a standout athlete, with the exception of James. The other two fall into this category, but is skilled offensively, and finally, it was the big man we were all waiting for. Again, it might not be the exact one you were waiting for, but it was the position you were waiting for, and I think it was a home run here as Creighton's Ryan Kalkbrenner was taken at 34 by the Hornets. The 7'1" center may be the answer to fix some glaring issues that the Hornets have on the inside, both offensively and defensively. With a 7'6" wingspan, there's no question coming in right away that Kalkbrenner will be able to make his presence felt as soon as he's on the floor on both ends of the floor. And again, I mentioned I love this pick. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it brings in a proven two-way impact player. He's shown for 4 years in college as a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East that he has the dedication and commitment to improve his game with each passing season, as well as the capabilities and fundamentals, I suppose, to be a force on defense and play there in the paint and be a big presence on the inside. Not just on the inside, though, he was a much improved three-point shooter throughout his senior season, shooting just over 34% from beyond the arc, something that the Hornets, again, desperately need in terms of being able to keep up with the modern big man in the NBA. Really, now there's never a situation where you don't need all 5 shooters on the floor being able to take three-point shots, and Kalkbrenner comes in. 34% is more than satisfactory from the center position, which can only go up, again, as I mentioned, his commitment to his development and now being able to lock in key fully on full-time basketball being his job. 34% again from beyond the arc, along with averaging 19.2 points per game, just under 9 rebounds a game, 8.7 to be exact, and a very impressive, as I've hit on, his paint presence on defense, 2.7 blocks per game from Kalkbrenner this season, while at Creighton, again, won his 4th consecutive Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Again, that means he can come in and, while, as we mentioned, his athletic ability doesn't jump off the screen at you, and there's been several questions throughout the draft process leading up to this about his ability to defend laterally, his paint presence and his ability to be a rim protector are there right from the jump. There's no questions about those. That's not something he's really going to have to work on and try to develop. It's more the lateral defense and focus on his overall athletic ability. Again, the adaptation to the modern big man. Can he do that? Can he get out and stay in front of or prevent another big man from getting to their spot laterally? Or if he gets caught in a pick and roll, how is he going to be able to switch to the man on the ball? Is he going to be able to stay with him long enough to let some help come over? Or can he guard a ball handler by himself? Will he develop into that type of defensive player? All those questions loom large with Kalkbrenner, but I think the upside on the other end and the proven floor, the height of his proven floor, is enough to make him more than a good pick, more than a satisfactory pick here at 34. Another knock against the big man, though, has been his age. Since he's an ancient 23 years old, even older than Sion James, the Hornets really went to the rest home for their 2 second-round picks here in this one. I don't see any issues, though, as I'm joking around. I don't see any issues with his age, and I might even consider it to be a benefit. I know 23 sounds old in today's NBA, but having played 4 years in college, he comes in very experienced, a lot of basketball under his belt, a lot of time to develop throughout those games. We know that Creighton and really the Big East as a whole is pretty good. They have a pretty sound reputation for developing players and sending them on into the league, continuing to develop with the ability and the fundamentals or the foundation to develop themselves and get better based on what they know they need to do. Also, that age brings a different level of maturity when it comes to his development. He's, again, not going to have to take, like Sion James coming off the bench, he's not going to have to take a slice of humble pie as a cocky or arrogant. We've all been 18, 19, 20 years old where we think we hung the moon. We've spent the last 4 to 7 years of our lives being told how great we are at basketball, all of these things like that. That's not really a factor for the 23-year-old Kalkbrenner. He's got a sense of maturity. He understands what needs to be done. He can kind of take the criticism in terms of his game, focus on those things that are being critiqued, and do what's necessary to develop and mature in his own game. And I think the age there is absolutely more of a benefit than it is a curse. Although 23, I know, does sound ancient again in today's NBA. Obviously, again, his outside of the paint defense, his athletic abilities, they're going to be a focal point from day one. But he's got a more than proven work ethic. Again, he fits the type that we've been talking about this entire video, really this whole draft, from Jeff Peterson. And he's got an offensive head start as he, again, has been improving his three-point shooting. He comes in shooting just with the ability to shoot over 30% from three, and all things in his pre-draft workouts seem to lead to him getting even better and being even more willing to improve on his offensive game. So I think he's got a little bit of a head start there. It'll only be a short matter of time before he too perfectly fits the mold of what Jeff Peterson and Charles Lee are trying to build here in Charlotte. He'll be another high energy, high motor guy who can come off the bench and give quality minutes at that 5 position, as well as being a big body frame on the inside who can still play defense as well as score when needed in there with the second unit. But as I've said in previous videos, really that's kind of been one of the focal points of these first 3 Hornets Daily videos we've got going on now. The draft is always a super fun time, and it provides a sense of blind optimism, really, for the future of your team. That may not be the case for the last few drafts here in Charlotte, but I think this one, blind optimism, is certainly a good phrase to describe it. But now that it's over, it's come to an end officially. The Hornets really don't even have the weekend to celebrate because free agency begins on Monday, June the 30th, and Charlotte has absolutely no reason or excuse to sit by and just watch it happen. And again, hitting back on the not having a weekend break before Monday even gets here, the team has already had the opportunity to speak with a top priority in-house in Tre Mann. And now, folks, those aren't my words labeling him a top priority. That's Jeff Peterson straight from the horse's mouth. As Peterson told Hoop Hype's Rod Boone, Mann is a priority and he doesn't see any reason why he's not back with the team next year. So that leading into the early stages of free agency should be some very good news for us Hornets fans, since we all know Tre was playing extremely well and showing tons of promise being a backup and even filling in for LaMelo prior to his own back injury. Now, if and when that contract issue gets resolved, there's still going to be plenty more questions for the Hornets to answer as they go forward in free agency. Not necessarily guys on the roster in terms of retention, but who are they going to bring in? Are they going to bring in any other pieces after the draft now? Or what's going to be the direction that the front office shifts to now post-draft when it comes to free agency? I laid out in our last video the possibilities and reasons of why Charlotte could and should bring in a big man like Santi Aldama. I mentioned Jonathan Kuminga and Naz Reid as well. Those two I think are going to be a little more on the expensive end, more so than a guy like Aldama, who's sitting there with Jaren Jackson Jr. in front of him, a new toy for Memphis in Cedric Coward being drafted, and Aldama being a restricted free agent. It's going to be interesting to see what the offers he brings. I think, again, as I laid out in the last video, Charlotte has a pretty good case to make an offer at him. But after the Kalkbrenner pick tonight and the Hornets bringing in a big man, does the front office feel like he's going to be the answer there? Is that the fix? Is that the only thing they're going to do? Could that alter the free agency plans? That's something to keep an eye on, as it remains to be seen what the full free agency plan is going to be from Charlotte. I'm sure, however, many more rumors, many more plans. We got to get this guy. We're going to bring this guy in. Is all going to come out and be flooded the internet and the streets before Monday, which again will make it very interesting to watch and see what, digging through all those weeds, what the true rumors are, who the actual targets are in free agency. And don't worry, folks, we're going to have all the updates right here on Hornets Daily, as well as some updates on the developing LaMelo Ball situation, after the draft. Will he be moved now in the offseason, or will the front office keep him around and see how these shiny new toys that they've brought in, Con Knippel, Liam McNeely, Sion James, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, how will they fit with LaMelo, one of the stars already on this Hornets team? As we mentioned in the last video, Knippel and McNeely were really drafted because of the way the front office feels they can fit with Ball and Brandon Miller, as well as Miles Bridges and the rest of this core around the Hornets that's already been established. It's shaping up to be one of the most, if not the most, optimistic offseason that I have in recent memory in Charlotte. And with free agency as well as the Summer League quickly approaching, that hope and optimism level should only go up, because if there's some exciting new rosters, some exciting new toys, as I mentioned, to play with coming into Summer League. It'll be must-see TV for Hornets fans now, again, giving a new sense of optimism, something to watch, an excitement level into the offseason as we lead into the regular season and hopefully a playoff level season coming from the Hornets. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Hornets Daily. Please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment, your thoughts in the chat. We'll get to those further down the line, as I mentioned. But until then, we'll see you right back here tomorrow, bringing you more of the buzz from all around the hive. I'm Vance Ballard, and thanks again for watching Hornets Daily, folks.